Hello students, today we'll be continuing with Java programming. So we'll be starting with the definition of class. The user-defined data type which contains data and functions together is known as a class. Hence, a class is a way of binding data and its associated functions in one unit. Why do we need a class? We all know that Java is a pure object-oriented language, so all operations are managed inside the class. All variables and methods are declared within the class. To control the access of class members, objects are created. The variables which are declared within the class along with its data type on which some operations are performed are known as data members or variables of the class. Now there are two types of variables declared inside a class. First is static variables, also known as class variables. These are data members which are declared only once for a class. All objects of the class share these variables because only a single copy of these variables is available in the memory. Second type is instance variables. The data members declared within a class are known as instance variable. These are available for every object of the class. That is, a separate copy of these variables is made in the memory for different objects of the class. Let us see an example here. There is a class ABC in which we have declared certain instance variables and static variables. Here, in this example, x and y are instance variable as the static keyword is not used, whereas ch and m are static variables as the static keyword is used. So the static keyword is used to differentiate between an instance variable and a static variable. Now we come to functions within a class. The methods defined within a class to execute data members of the class are known as functions or methods of the class. They can also be classified as static methods and instance methods. The methods which begin with the static keyword are known as static methods. They can use only static variables, whereas instance methods are the methods which use both class variables and instance variables. We'll be seeing an example now to differentiate between static and instance methods. See this example, there's a class A in which we have declared variables x as instance variable and variable m as static variable. Now there's a static function show. This function show is we are trying to declare the values, initialize the values of 70 to x and 10.98 to m. X equals to 70 is invalid here as instance variables can't be used inside a static function. But m equals to 10.98 is valid because m is a static variable used inside a static function. Similarly, in the next function, void display, this is an instance function. Both are initialized and both are valid because instance functions can use both type of variables. Now comes to scope of variable. The access range of variables within the class is called its scope. It covers the following rules. The class or instance variables can be accessed by the instance functions only. Static variables can be accessed by both instance as well as static functions within the class. The variable which is declared within a function is accessible to that function only since it is local to that function only. No other function within a class can access it. Objects as instances of class. The task of accessing the class members is achieved by a special variable that belongs to the class known as object of the class. An object is an identifiable entity with some characteristics and behavior. How do we create an object? The syntax is given over here. First, we have to write the class name, then the object name equals to new class name followed by parenthesis. To access the data members, we will be writing object name dot variable name. To access the member function, the syntax is object name dot function name followed by the parameter list. See this example, there is a class A in which we have declared a variable x. Now there is a show function in which we have printed the value of x. In main, we have declared an object to the class A, obj. A obj equals to new A. Then through this we are accessing the class variable and the function obj.x equals to 10 and obj.show is the function call. We are ending the class here. Concept of input in Java. In Java, the following stream classes are used to input data from an input device. First is the buffered reader class. It is an input stream for reading the Java standard data types like int, char, float, double, etc. from the input console. Buffered reader constructor supports a buffered input stream and improves the performance by buffering input and refers to an object of input stream class. It is present in the java.io package. Now the syntax, we can use it in two ways. Either we write both the input stream reader and buffered reader in a single statement, or we write it in two statements given here. Please have a look where BR is a user defined object name. You can also change the object name. Second type is by using the scanner class. This class allows to input primitive data types as well as string. Scanner class breaks input into tokens using white space as the default delimiter. The resulting tokens may then be converted to values like int, float, double, etc. by using the various next methods. The scanner class is in the package java.util. This is the syntax. We have to first write the scanner, then we have to write the object name equals to new scanner system.in. Example, scanner sc equals to new scanner system.in, where sc is the object name. Now the input functions used in buffer reader. First is the read function. This function is used to input or read a character from the input stream and returns -1 when the end of the stream is encountered. For example, char ch. We have declared a buffered reader object br, and then through br we have called the read function br.read and typecasted into character and stored in the variable ch. The readLine function is used to read or input a line of text from the input stream. So again we have declared a buffered reader object in the first line, and in the second line we have input a line of text using br.readLine. This line of text, this string, is converted into integer using integer.parseInt and stored in a variable num. In the above example, parse is used to convert string input into primitive data type as needed and stores it in the variable used. Since Java takes input in the form of strings, so it must be converted into numeric form. Now the input functions used with scanner class are next short, next int, next long, next float, next double, next line, char add 0. For description of these functions, we have to refer to the table on page number 62 of the textbook. Simple programs using buffered reader and scanner classes. The first program to input an integer number and print it. Please have a look. The same program can be written by using the scanner class. Here we are writing throws IO exception in public static void main. When we use the scanner class, we will not be writing throws IO exception. We will be changing java.io package to java.util package. And instead of creating an object of buffer reader, we will be creating an object of scanner class. Instead of using br.readLine and converting it into integer using integer.parseInt, we will be using scanner class object dot nextInt, sc dot nextInt. Look in this program. This is the same program, but we have used the scanner class here. Next float is used in scanner class in place of float.parsefloat used in buffered class. Next long is used instead of long.parseLong in as in buffered reader class, and so on. Have a look at this program. Then we'll move over to the next one. Write a program to input name of a student and print it. Again, what we are doing, we are importing the java.io package. Then class n public static void main throws IO exception. String name, we have declared a string type variable name. Buffered reader object we have declared. Then we have entered a name using br.readLine and we have printed it. The same program can be written using the scanner class object as well. This is how we write using the scanner class. Scanner class object sc equals to new scanner system.in. Then system.out.println, enter a name equals to sc.next line. It is used to enter a string and stored in a string type variable. And we are directly printing the name of the student as name. Up till now we have been doing programs of buffered reader. Now we'll be doing certain programs of scanner class. Look at the next program now. Write a program to input roll number and marks in 5 subjects out of 100. Calculate the percentage and print the roll number along with the percentage. Import java.util.asterisk, then the class name student. Then in main we are declaring the variables roll number as integer and m1, m2, m3, m4, m5 as double type to enter marks, total and per to calculate total and percentage. Scanner class object sc, then we are entering the roll number in the variable roll using sc.nextInt. Java is case sensitive. Please don't change the case of the functions. In next int, n is to be written in small letters and int in starting with I capital. Now we are entering the marks in 5 subjects using sc.next double. D is to be written in capital letters here. Then we are calculating the total of the 5 marks. We are calculating the percentage as total upon 500 into 100 and we are printing the roll number along with the percentage. End of main and end of the class. This is how we calculate the percentage and roll number using the scanner class. Now this is a small assignment which I have made for you. I expect all of you to go through the text and try to do these questions by yourself. And if there are any problems, we'll be discussing them on Tuesday in the evening at 6 o'clock. So a total of 15 questions here. I hope you all have understood the chapter today. Thank you. We'll meet on Tuesday in the evening.